Hi, Sean Puz, Central Florida, Badass Rat Rods, Metal Shop Designs. I was asked to do a small bio, so here it goes. We'll start at the very beginning. My father was into racing when I was very young, maybe about 4 or 5 years old. We would go to the tracks. Clay would come up from the racetrack. I would grab some of the clay and actually form that into cars and trucks like the race cars and car haulers. So I guess it started back then, and then the racing being in my blood. Moving on through the years, I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and assault just killed cars. So being my dad was into cars, and people would approach him that frames would rot out, car panels would rot, and need metal replaced. So I was kind of got into that. Not really made to do it, but here we got to do this. So I think that's where the metalwork started, making patch panels for bodywork, frames. I would make templates to make the metal panels for the frames. My dad would weld them together, and we would fix frames where most people wouldn't. So that kind of actually was a pretty good thing back in the day. Economy wasn't all that good, and everybody needed to either fix the car or junk it. So that worked out pretty well. All that is stepping stones for metalwork, and it just kind of kept going from there, doing a little more. I did a Pro Street S10. It was just a miter. I took an S10, took the frame out of it, just made my own frame out of miter tubing. Kind of a simple process, which a lot of people do. That worked out okay. And again, they're all stepping stones. So did that, and for me, it's just not enough. I just got to keep going. Did some of those things like that for a while. Ended up getting into the union, local 66 equipment operator, and that kind of gave me a little bit better income to play around with cars and buy some equipment, which I did. Ended up purchasing a house, had a small garage, and that's kind of where Metal Shop Design started. Went into racing, which is terribly expensive. Did that for a little while, and just not worth the effort and time and money. So I kind of turned into the hot rods, rat rods, started building some of those. Did a 36 Chevy rat rod, did a Pro Street full chassis S10, built a few of those, and worked out real well. But I just wanted to go my own direction with the car. So that's where RATical came along. It was just my own design, my own frame. Toolco did an amazing job programming this design. I took a cardboard template, laid it out on his floor, and said, "I want this." So very tough for them to do, but they killed it, and that's where these frames started coming from. So we did that, got the frame, made a cab out of tubing, skinned it, and RATical was my design. It's all handmade, and I wanted just something that was just, as Crab says, low, fast, and badass. So that's what we were working toward. Got that going. It started taking shape, and that encouraged me to do the rest of it. Excuse me. So we got that most of the way done. Had enough of the short summers, rainy summers, the Pittsburgh weather. Decided to move to Florida. So we had a nationwide client that I did commercial metal work, which is basically what I do for a living now, is commercial metal work, a lot of stainless steel and things. So we moved to Florida. I had an opportunity to go because a lot of my work was down south anyway. I said, well, that's what we got to do. So we moved to Florida. We finished up RATical, showed it around, and some people don't like it, some people blow it off, but whatever, it's all good. So there was a show called Atomic Blast, Gulfport, Mississippi. Always wanted to do, but living in Pittsburgh was just a little too far. So down here was only about 8 hours, so it wasn't too bad, and made the decision just out of the clear blue. I said, we're going to do this. So my wife and I loaded up the truck. Down the road we went, got to Gulfport, Mississippi. Excuse me. Didn't know anybody. Had no idea what it was going to be. We just went for an open mind, have fun, have a good time. And it was a blast, like they said. But, everybody respected me. And I felt so at home there. over here in Orlando, you got your, your new car goers and whatever, and people don't like what I'm doing, but it gets all the attention. So we went to Gulfport, and we had a blast. It was amazing. Ended up winning Best of Show, and it was just amazing. I just felt so at home there, and we ended up leaving and met the great people, Crab, Stephanie, and it just we had a blast. So. Out of the clear blue, about a year and a half later, Miss Stephanie calls and says, "Hey, you remember me? This is Stephanie." Well, yeah, I remember. So she said, "Hey, I'm with this RATical group, and how would you like to do a build?" And we talked about it a little bit, and I said, "You know what, that might be something I want to do." So she connected me with Brian Daigle with the RATical. He gave me a call. And, it's a very, very large commitment. I almost didn't do it, to be honest with you. But we did. I just like going to Gulfport itself and just like moving. I said, we're just going to do this. So went from there. And my wife had found a Packard in the meantime, right after we moved here. And I had bought it, and you're going to make just a regular rat rod out of it. But since I already had that purchased and the body was sitting there, I figured, well, that's what we're gonna do. We went to SEMA. We got our sponsors, main sponsor, thank you so much, Rayleigh, Tom, and we built a car. And I got to thank my wife, my daughter, Alexis, her fiance Nick, Aaron Tessing, Armando Coelho, Jeff Barnes, Melissa Barnes, Chris Large. And a few other people helped out. Aaron ended up being an amazing thing. He was going to do this for free, but I said, "Hey, I have some other work, and I'll pay you." And it was amazing. He jumped on board with us, and if it wasn't for that, probably wouldn't have been able to make it with the commercial work that I have and the build. So we got it. I told him throughout. I said, "Aaron, we're going to make something badass. Take it to SEMA, see what happens." I said, I have no idea where this is going to go. And I said, I'm doing this with an open mind. We're just going to put something out there, and maybe we'll get laughed at, maybe not. We're going to find out where we stand. So we did. We took it there, and obviously ended up winning the world champion of the RATical build-off, and we're super happy about that. And that kind of brings us to the next phase. We're going to defend our title in 2020, another huge commitment that I need like a hole in my head. But yeah, once again, what the heck? Let's give it a shot, see what happens, and see where that takes us. So hope you enjoyed the little bio. That's the short story, and that's where we are. We're here. We're coming strong. Watch out. Hold on. God bless.